Hello, this video is a brief comparison between a Model M, that's 170 centimetres, and the Model O, which is 178 centimetres. There's a slight difference between the two. There's 8 centimetres. Really doesn't make a huge amount of difference, just a slightly bigger soundboard and slightly longer strings. We'll look at that in a minute. Both have got 3 pedals. This fully restored Model M is 1946 and the Model O is 1923. First, let's look at the cosmetic difference. This Model M's got original ivory keys and they're pretty perfect. The Model O's had the key tops changed, so these are modern celluloid-based piano keys like a modern piano. Both pianos have got Heller bass strings, that's German bass strings. They're both restored in Germany or Poland. See, all our black Steinways are done in Germany or Poland, and because we don't do the black polyester. We do rosewood full restoration, but we don't do the one. If it's a black piano, then it's come from the continent. This Model O here has got Steinway, New York, Hamburg, because it's an older one. Now in 1946 they just put Steinway on. Really there's a lot of difference between the USA and German pianos, but that difference surfaces a bit later on. At the time these two were made, they're really not that much difference between the two. Cosmetically a difference, but not that much difference. Now here the stringing is very similar, but they're both Heller bass strings made in Germany. And you can see here that the younger one, 1946, just has Steinway written on the frame, whereas the 1923 one has Steinway, Hamburg and New York. They phased that out when they, really just before the war and after the war, they phased that out. This older one also has a badge on it, the younger one doesn't. There's no badge on this younger one. I was on holiday when I got information from the restorer on these pianos, and some of the information on this one, which is the Model M, wasn't correct, so I got to investigate it, because it did say it had a changed decal, but in fact it's got no decal at all, as you'd expect on this age of piano. Now most of our Steinways come through an agent in Poland, and we specify what we'd like done to the piano, but it varies slightly. Basically the highest quality chosen for each piano is what we're specifying. This one's apparently come from a German piano restorer. It's got Arbel hammers on, which, well, Arbel and Renner are the two competitive, really top makes of hammer, and they're in great condition. We haven't finished toning this completely, and in fact we will probably do 2 or 3 extra days work. It's only just come in, this one. It's had new felts, but these are the original. They put new hinge pins in, but some are slightly tight, so we shall work on that just to refine this a bit. But it's very good. It's just sort of minor refinements that we need to do. You can see the detail. It's been very fastidiously restored. We've got these little shims here which are put in to align the hammers properly, so when they go up, they're in exactly the straight line. Now this Model O's got Steinway Renner hammers. Renner make all Steinway hammers. If you get a Steinway hammer, it's made by Renner company in Leipzig. Now, they've also changed the shanks and the rollers. That's something we always do ourselves. You can see the rollers there, the shanks, and that means you don't have to work on the hinges at all. There's nothing wrong with the M, it's just that we need to just work on the hinges a bit to get them exactly the same as each other. Now, another important issue with restoration is whether the tuning pins are tight, and we would change the tuning block if it was one of ours. Now we put smaller pins in when we do a new tuning block. We put the smallest pin in, but in fact in Germany and Poland they tend not to do that. They tend to put bigger ones in. Not quite sure why. We would put the smallest, and that way you can replace them later on. Both the Model M and the O have got very tight tuning pins, and apparently replace tuning blocks as well. It's actually extremely difficult to tell whether the tuning block's replaced, but I take the word for it that they are both replaced. Now listening to the tone of the piano, the Model M has a brighter sound. Now that's because then the hammers are new, and new hammers are always bright, and we tone them. It's come to mean tone not quite so toned as I would normally do it. Actually it's pretty good. We just need a little bit of sort of fine toning. And this is the Model O. This has been toned and it's quite mellow. All pianos are different tone, even Steinways are all individuals. These hammers are toned mellower than, perhaps slightly mellower than average. The Model M is toned slightly brighter than average. This is something we can customise to a great extent. I say hammers come very bright. then you mellow them down according to taste. So that's the Model M, 170 centimetres. The Model O, that's 178. It's slight advantage in the bass, slightly longer bass strings and a bigger soundboard. They're not a huge difference between it. It's often a matter of choosing the piano tone that you like rather than whether it's an O or an M. So thank you very much for listening.